In this movie, Get Out, Chris, a talented African-American photographer, is in a loving relationship with his white girlfriend, Rose. Despite the societal pressures surrounding their interracial romance, their bond is strong, and they plan a future together. Rose invites Chris to her family's home for a weekend getaway. While she assures him that her parents, Dean and Missy Armitage, are progressive and open-minded, Chris is understandably uneasy. He calls his best friend, Rod, an airport security officer, to check in before they set off. Upon arrival, Chris is immediately struck by the Armitage's wealth. Dean, a neurosurgeon, and Missy, a psychiatrist, are clearly successful. However, Chris feels a growing sense of discomfort when he notices that the family staff, the housekeeper, Georgina, and the groundskeeper, Walter, are both black. Dean attempts to put Chris at ease, sharing a seemingly heartfelt story about how the staff were his parents' trusted caretakers, and he couldn't bear to let them go after they passed away. During a casual chat, the family reveals they're hosting an annual gathering. The conversation takes a turn when Chris shares a vulnerable detail, his mother's tragic death in a car accident when he was a child. The Armitages quickly shift the subject, and Missy offers to use hypnosis to help Chris quit smoking, a habit they've noticed he has. The encounter is made more unsettling by Georgina, who serves them tea with an expression that is a strange mix of joy and stress. Missy rudely dismisses her, and the moment is interrupted by Rose's younger brother, Jeremy. At dinner, the tension escalates. Jeremy makes bizarre, racially charged comments about Chris's supposed physical prowess, even challenging him to a fight. Rose's parents intervene, but the unsettling behavior continues. Later, in the privacy of their room, Rose voices her frustration with her family, apologizing for their actions and bizarre racial comments. That night, Chris, unable to sleep, goes outside for a smoke. He is startled by a chilling sight. Walter sprints toward him at full speed before abruptly turning away. Then, he sees Georgina staring blankly at her own reflection in a window. Puzzled, he goes back inside, where he finds Missy in her therapy room. She seizes the opportunity to hypnotize him. As she stirs her teacup, the scraping sound becomes a hypnotic trigger, drawing him in. She probes his painful memory of his mother's death. As Chris's mind unravels, he feels himself sinking into a terrifying state of paralysis. Missy calmly explains that this helpless realm is the Sunken Place. Chris wakes up in Rose's bed, convinced the encounter was a nightmare. He notices his phone battery is low and plugs it in to charge. Seeking to clear his head, he goes outside with his camera. He tries to chat with Walter, only to be unnerved by his distant eyes and an accent that sounds like an old white man. When Walter mentions the hypnosis session, Chris realizes it wasn't a dream at all. He immediately tells Rose, who apologizes for her mother but brushes off his concern. Chris is surprised to find that the hypnosis did indeed cure his desire to smoke. The house party is a parade of awkward encounters. Dozens of wealthy, mostly older white guests arrive and behave oddly toward Chris. One woman crudely asks if Chris is better in bed because of his race, and another couple remarks on how fashionable black skin is. As he tries to escape the conversations, Chris spots another black man, Logan King, who exhibits the same strange, old-fashioned mannerisms as Walter. He then meets Jim Hudson, a blind art curator, who, unlike the other guests, praises Chris's photography skills. Feeling uneasy, Chris goes upstairs. He finds his phone charger unplugged and Georgina in the room, confirming his suspicion that she was responsible. He calls his friend Rod and shares his eerie experiences. Georgina, who can't understand modern slang, insists the family treats her well while struggling to hold back tears. Back downstairs, Chris secretly takes a picture of Logan for Rod, accidentally using the flash. The flash triggers a violent reaction in Logan, who becomes hysterical, gets a nosebleed, and screams "Get out!" at Chris. Disturbed, Chris tells Rose they must leave. In their room, he finds a box of photos showing Rose with several previous black boyfriends, including Walter and Georgina. The shocking realization hits him. He isn't the first black man Rose has brought here. When Rose returns to the room, Chris urges her to find the car keys. She claims she can't find them, and he sees Jeremy, Missy, and Dean blocking their path. Dean reveals the sinister purpose behind their gathering: to transplant the minds of older white people into younger, physically superior black bodies. As the family closes in, Missy taps her teacup, sending Chris into a trance. The family drags him into the basement, where he is bound to a chair. Meanwhile, back in the city, Rod's concern grows. After multiple unanswered calls, he does some digging and discovers a missing person article for Andre Hayworth, the man Chris knows as Logan King. Rod goes to the police, but his story about a white family kidnapping black men is met with laughter. In the basement, Chris is shown a video of Rose's grandfather explaining that Chris was chosen for his genetic advantages. The video then shows a stirring teacup, and Chris's consciousness is sent back to the Sunken Place. He wakes up to Jim Hudson on a screen, explaining that the Armitage family has perfected brain transplant surgery to achieve a twisted form of immortality. Jim, who is blind, wants Chris's eyes. Before the surgery, Chris cleverly uses cotton stuffing from the chair to block his ears, preventing the hypnotic sound from working. When Jeremy comes to get him for the procedure, Chris seizes his chance, beating him with a lacrosse ball and impaling Dean with a mounted deer's antlers. He escapes upstairs, where he confronts Missy. He knocks her teacup away, but she stabs him in the palm. He overpowers her, stabbing her in the eye. As he tries to flee, a bloody Jeremy catches him in a headlock. Chris stabs him in the shin and stomps on his skull, killing him. Outside, Chris finds the car keys and tries to escape. He accidentally hits Georgina, and haunted by his mother's hit-and-run death, he pulls her into the car. Rose, armed with a rifle, runs out, revealing that Georgina and Walter are her grandparents, their brains transplanted into new bodies. Georgina, under her grandmother's control, attacks Chris, leading to a crash that kills her. Chris then fights Walter, using his camera flash to momentarily awaken the real Walter's consciousness. For a split second, Walter is himself again. He takes the rifle from Rose, shoots her in the stomach, and then shoots himself, bringing an end to the family's horrifying experiments. As police sirens wail, Chris stands over a bleeding Rose. Just as the police car arrives, it is revealed to be Rod's. He has come to save his friend. Rod pulls up, and they drive away, leaving Rose to die in the street. And movie concludes.